Because it's a crime that you can't see the effect of, they didn't call the cops, and they should have. Every one of these officials should have called the cops. The hypocrisy police have been enforced today online, Jane, and they've been trying to plaster Paula Deen as a hypocrite and as a poster child for unhealthy living.
Mark Serrano runs a crisis management firm in Virginia.
They can't also say nothing about his original statement. They can't have it both ways. Crisis response, the crisis communications response must include full transparency, and we don't see that yet. Someone published a guide to committing a terrorist act that would kill 3,000 people in the United States in one day. Would we tolerate that for sale online under a First Amendment argument? I don't think so. Senator Brown, I'm sure, is experiencing something cathartic like never before, except maybe for his Senate win when he won Senator Kenny's seat as a Republican. This is reckless because it lends the impression that the Vatican is taking action when it's merely a few guidelines that bishops won't follow anyhow. It's astonishing that the Vatican still thinks things like meetings with victims, a meaningless, symbolic, public relations gesture, is action. Real action is making bishops fully accountable for hiding sex offenders in the church.
Mark Serrano, President Proactive Communications, I think the Food Network is making a mistake here. They're saying their only concern is for Paula's health. What about the health of their viewers? Does the Food Network have any concern for the health of their viewers?
Well, I think the Food Network does, and I think Paula Deen does. I think she's demonstrated it through her programs by talking about moderation. The hypocrisy police have been enforced today online, Jane, and they've been trying to plaster Paula Deen as a hypocrite and as a poster child for unhealthy living. The truth is, I think she's a poster child for personal responsibility, for enjoying life, within moderation.
Wait a second. Are you her publicist?
For free enterprise.
Are you her publicist?
No, I am not.
You're saying to me that hiding the diagnosis of diabetes for 3 years while continuing to encourage people to eat the way very likely she contracted diabetes is her being a poster child for what? What did you say, poster child for what? Personal responsibility. She's preached moderation all along. No, okay.
Absolutely. Okay. She's no more responsible for people getting diabetes than she would be me eating these donuts tonight. It's about consumer choice and personal responsibility, Jane. Because it's a crime that you can't see the effect of, they didn't call the cops, and they should have. Every one of these officials should have called the cops.
The first inclination is bury it. Why is that? Have you come to any answers as to why that's the case?
It's pure abuse of power. It's institutional corruption. It's authorities at the university who find out that a kid is being raped and that other kids are in the clutches of a serial sexual predator and deciding, you know what, our brand image is a lot more important than that kid. They could have been Superman for that kid. They could have swooped in and saved his life and saved him from the predator who had him in his clutches. But instead, they decided, you know what, our prestigious football program is too important. Our alumni and funding is too important, and our image is way too important to worry about that kid or the other kids.
You're also a guy who does PR at a very high level. What should Penn State do now? Should Paterno be gone? Should they clean out that whole institution?
It's a great question, John. Every one of the officials who touched this thing should be gone. There's no doubt about it.
Mark Serrano runs a crisis management firm in Virginia.
If the university leadership decides not to fire Jim Boeheim, they can't also say nothing about his original statement. They can't have it both ways. Jim Boeheim clearly should be fired because of his verbal intimidation that he applied in response to the accusations against Bernie Fine. So when a university official comes out and attacks those victims who have suffered in silence for all these years, it's incredibly damaging.
Senator Brown said that no one would believe you. Now, I know that you're a victim of abuse. Do you feel connected to that notion? Were you scared of revealing it when it happened to you as a child?
Well, Senator Brown probably experienced what I did, which was your instincts are stripped from you. The perpetrator knows how to skillfully remove your instincts to cry for help. And so you're trapped in silence. And so Senator Brown, I'm sure, is experiencing something cathartic like never before, except maybe for his Senate win when he won Senator Kenny's seat as a Republican.